Hi everyone, so in this video I want to extend on hyper-awareness. I want to go a little bit further because hyper-awareness goes way beyond the previous video I made about it, which you guys pointed out in the comments. And some of those comments were very interesting. I remember one comment was talking about how when someone's talking to them, they instantly already know exactly what they're going to say, because they're already aware of the situation that person's in. And because we've experienced a lot of experience in our lives and situations, a lot of the time when people talk to us, we already know what they're going to say and what they're going through because we ourselves have already been through it. So that's the next level of hyper-awareness. So the first level is obviously being in what's known as an empath in the spiritual communities, where you feel people's emotion around you because you already know what they're going through. And because we've already felt that experience in our lives, we already know what they're going through, so we feel bad for them and we want to help them through those experiences, which is probably what we're all here to do. We're all here to help each other because everybody is the same consciousness, which I'm going to get to in a moment, guys. But yeah, hyper-awareness goes to extremes, guys. Like what I talked about in the last video was just basically the basics of hyper-awareness. But it actually goes on and on and on until there is no further to go and you realize that you are everything. Everything is you. You are God, or what's known as the great infinite creator. The reason I know this is because when I experienced a near-death experience a few years ago, I literally shut out my body and I seen all the stars, the galaxies flying away from us. And then I reached the point where I saw about 7 different universes. And I had like a great infinite understanding, and I was everything, and I was every single consciousness, every single being, every single animal, every single tree, every flower, every insect. I was all that consciousness all at the same time. Now, if you haven't experienced this before, either with psychedelics or a near-death experience, you'll not know what I'm talking about here. But a lot of you probably have experienced this at some point. And this was proof to me that we are everything all at the same time, but everything which is all that is, the God consciousness, has like shattered itself into billions of pieces, and we're all just one little shard of that piece. But as you evolve and as you become more hyper aware, you realize more and more and more that you are everything and everyone. And what I talked about in the last video was just the basics of this, because hyper-awareness just never ends, guys. It just keeps going on and on and on until you reach the point of like non-duality, which is the kind of level I'm experiencing at the moment, where I'm realizing that everything just is, okay, and there is no good or bad, because most people in the world are stuck in a dualistic way of thinking where they're constantly fighting these goods and bads. That's what happens in the news when we see it. We see a lot of people trying the hardest to build up so much money so they can buy this beautiful car. And then when they've got the car, what they don't realize is that all this is just a trap of dualism. Because when they get that car, they then have that novelty for a few months, and then the novelty goes and it's just a car. You see, so whatever we try and get in life, we always end up in the same place again, where we just want more and more. And this is the trap of dualism. Now, I'm not saying this trap's a bad thing, because I've been through this myself. Only now I'm starting to come out of this, which will reach everybody at some point. Everybody will reach a level of evolution where they'll stop being in this dualistic trap, and they'll start to become just one in the center again, which is absolutely amazing when you reach this point, because you stop trying in life and you realize that everything just is, and it's all meant to be. That's the only way I can describe it, guys. And you find peace in your consciousness, and you no longer need to try to be this specific person to get this specific thing, because you realize it's all an illusion. And when you reach this level, you start to come to the oneness, which is the next stage closest to the oneness, which you are everything. And I honestly believe that's what we're here to do, because I think that we're here in this experience to experience ourselves from a new point of view, so we can discover ourselves within this reality we find ourselves in, with the duality, the physical experience, which is all a projection of consciousness. And I think all this is just a learning lesson to come back to our true selves again, which is everything, which is God, which is all that is. This is quite deep, guys. I hope a lot of you probably understand what I'm saying here, but most people in the world are still stuck in this dualistic experience, which is what all the news and the negativity is about. Because whenever we create a negative, it also creates a positive. Now, the reason this isn't a bad thing, guys, is because we have to go through this in order to kind of polarize ourselves in the center eventually. So this is when love comes into this, guys. Because the more hyper-aware we become, the more we become aware of love. And when we become aware of this love, we start to, instead of judging people because they're still stuck in these dualistic ways, or somebody's a negative person because of the ego, and somebody is a happy person, and because they're focused on all this happiness, you might already know that happiness their experience is going to lead to a negative. You see, we already see all that. That's why we know what someone's going to say before they say them, because we already know what level of awareness they're on and where that's going to take them. Now, this isn't a bad thing, because we've already been through it. They're going to go through it, and eventually they're going to come to the oneness as well. So I think consciousness is, everybody's all on the same ladder of evolution. Everybody's all going to reach this point eventually, and this is where the law of karma comes in, because whatever they're doing, okay, every action creates an exact and opposite reaction when they're in this dualistic state. So whatever they do, even if they're doing something really bad in life, which a lot of people still are, that's going to create negative outcomes for them constantly until they realize. Okay, and when they realize, that's when they'll start learning lessons and they'll start doing better things, and they'll realize when they do better things, they'll get better things back. So the hyper-awareness is about love at the end of the day, because love is everything. You'll realize eventually that love is what makes everything work. Even if someone's doing something negative, they're doing it out of love. A lot of people, when I say this to them, they don't quite understand what I mean. But when you really look at it deeply from a non-dualistic aspect, you realize that what someone's doing that's negative, okay, there's a reason why they're doing that. And the reason is that they fear something, okay? People only have an ego and do negative things because they fear something. They fear not being respected. They fear someone doing something bad to them. And because they fear that, you have to realize, where does this fear come from? It comes from love, because they fear something happening to them, because they love themselves. And this is the same with narcissistic people. Like you see in the New Age community, there's a lot of people complaining about narcissists, but what they don't realize is that the reason someone's a narcissist is because of self-love. They're so scared of their own emotions, they're so scared of being rejected, that they resort to narcissistic ways of being in order to prevent themselves being hurt, because they love themselves so much they don't want to get hurt. But what they realize is everything they're doing causes a negative effect. So let's say somebody's being narcissistic, they're eventually going to lose that partner, and they're going to go through the dark night of the soul, because they're going to be hit hard, because they'll realize the actions they're doing is creating negative effects. And this, so everything, when you're in a non-dualistic state of being, everything is a journey towards love. That's why everything is love, even negative, positive, it's all love, okay? So eventually you'll come to the center point where everything that happens to you, and you'll be so hyper aware of everything happening, and exactly what's going to happen due to everything, because you'll understand that one action leads to all these other things that eventually lead to the center point again. You'll start to only see love, and you'll start to kind of, nothing will affect you, okay? If something bad, or so-called bad in society terms, happens to you, you'll start to realize that that bad thing also has a good aspect to it, because everything serves double duty. And when you realize that everything has a positive and a negative to it, you can then be at peace more, you see, because all these things that once affected you don't affect you anymore, because you can see a positive to it as well. And we now have the option like I said in the previous video, the more hyper aware you become, the more power you get to choose which option you want. Okay, you can, anything that happens to you, whether you think it's good or bad, you have the ability to see it from both aspects, so you can now choose whether you want it to be a good or bad thing. And when you choose this, you'll only choose positive, and you'll see everything in a good way, and then that's when your life will start getting better and better, and you'll be at peace. So that's about it I want to say in this video, guys, about hyper awareness. It literally never ends until you are God. Like literally, like once you are God, that's it. You are everything, and we're all the same. Okay. Now, there's one last thing I want to talk about, which is something my partner experiences, which is what somebody also mentioned in the comments. My partner actually has what's called dissociation. Okay, this is when you become so hyper aware that you see the physical surroundings, you see the physical world actually break up, and you realize it's all an illusion. You see the illusion breaking up in front of you with your eyes. This is due to some kind of trauma that you might have experienced at some point. But this is becoming more and more common, I think, and this is known as dissociation. A lot of people suffer with this, and some people actually they have this to a point where they actually find it very hard to deal with. Okay, they feel like they're looking at everything through a lens. Okay, now I haven't experienced this as such, so if you guys out there, any of you have experienced this and it's affecting you, please leave a comment to say how you've dealt with this and what's helped you with it, just to help my partner with this as well, because this is another aspect of hyper awareness. So leave your comments about hyper awareness. What do you think, guys? But that's it for this video. Thanks for listening. I'll be back soon with another video for you guys. Next level mental health. Let's help everybody. And thanks for listening, guys. Have a nice day.